Hi theory students. Today we're going to be working with chromatic modulations, and this is the first part of the chapter. We'll be learning different techniques to modulate other than the pivot chord or common chord modulations that we've studied before. We'll do these each one by one. Just a general comment about why these are important. As composers sought modulations to more distant keys, or less conventional ways to go to closely related keys, new techniques developed, and these techniques are detailed in the chapter. First, the common tone modulation. Just as a common chord can pivot from one key to the next, a common tone or a pair of tones can pivot as well. These may go to a closely related key or a more distant one. Consider a work in C major in which an authentic cadence leaves a C lingering. So it may be something like this, where we hear 5 to 1, and the C is heard, and that C, the one over here, is also scale degree 3 in A flat major. So by taking the rest of the chord out and leaving the C, I'm able to start immediately a direct modulation through this common tone in A flat major and then have a progression that establishes that. Now A flat's a very distant key from C. I could have used the same technique to just go to A minor or I could have even used a pair of notes. If I'm cadencing here in C, where I used the pair of notes C and E, which are scale degrees 1 and 3 in C major, of course, but also scale degrees 3 and 5 in A minor. If I'm modulating just by a common tone, I can go to distant keys like A flat. If I'm modulating by a pair of notes, like C and E for example, I can only go to closely related keys by common pair, a common dyad, because the C and the E exist in C major, and the other keys where both the C and the E exist are closely related keys. Think about it this way. If I have C and not C sharp, there can't be more than one sharp. And if I have E and not E flat, there can't be more than one flat. So therefore, all the keys of one sharp, no sharps or flats, or one flat would be the maximum I can go to from a pair of notes C and E. So for that reason, the single note or common tone modulation is a little more extensible. The next technique is a chromatic inflection. This is an ordinary chord in the key that can lead elsewhere by altering one note in that chord. In the example I'm going to give you, one feature is that a predominant chord, like a Neapolitan or an augmented sixth, something that leads to 5 of the new key. Imagine, if you will, that we have a 5 chord, and it can go either to a minor one, or it can go to a major one. and very often it might be a place where the minor one is a closely related key to the major key, but the major one is a distant key. Here's the example to illustrate. So imagine that we've got a C major chord. I might even have a chromatic passing tone. I've now got an A minor chord in first inversion, and now A to A sharp creates an Italian sixth going to a B major chord, which can go to E major. So now I've gone from C major, no sharps or flats, to E major, 4 sharps, and that's a distant key. The next technique is using mixture by going to the parallel key first and then to a close key of the parallel key. The result is a key that's distant from the original. So imagine that we've got F major, and think about the closely related keys, the ones that have no sharps or flats, 1 flat, or 2 flats. Now, if I'm thinking about F minor, the parallel minor, the closely related keys are 3 flats, 4 flats, and 5 flats, all of which are distant compared to our original key. So now to illustrate, imagine that we're in F major, and now F minor. And from F minor, I'm going to the key of E flat major, which has 3 flats in it, compared to F major, which has only 1 flat in it. And I do it through the parallel minor through mixture. The next technique would be a modulation by a descending fifth sequence. By moving in descending fifths, especially using secondary 5/7 chords, one can arrive at a new location. This can be chords in your original key or to a distant key. I'll show you both examples. Imagine that you're in the key of C and that we've got a 5/7 of 5 to a 5, and now 5/7 of 4 to 4. I can stay in the key of F, and now I've modulated to the subdominant, or when I get to 4, I can just use it like a regular 4 chord and stay in C. So I have the choice to modulate to F, or to just use the F major chord as a regular chord in the key of C major. The other example in which I have a sequence from C to F, I'm going to turn the F into an F7, which is now 5 of B flat. I'm going to turn the B flat into a B flat 7, which is 5 of E flat. So now I've got a descending fifths sequence that takes me out of the key of C, and now will take me to E flat major. So, from C major, C7, F, F7, B flat, B flat 7, flat. This is what we call a real sequence, not a tonal one, because I'm leaving the notes of C major behind in order to literally go down a perfect fourth in these cases. If I stayed in C, it would go from an F to a B diminished chord. That's our normal C major circle of fifths. But now I'm going a perfect fifth down to B flat, and now a perfect fifth down to E flat, and those flat chords are chords that don't exist in C major. So that's how I got to E flat major from the key of C. There may be other real sequences that aren't descending fifths, in which all the notes are transposed the same quality as well as the same number, and can lead to another key. For instance, if I go 1 to 5 in the key of C, and then just take everything down and go 1 to 5 in the key of B flat, now I've gone to a distantly related key. So for example, what might have started in C is now everything going down by step to have a 1 and 5 in B flat. So now I am a step lower than I was before. We often see modulations like this in development sections, where composers may stretch this out over several measures and stretch this out over several measures. It's a good way for them to hop from place to place. That's the first part of this chapter. Stay tuned for more of these chromatic modulation techniques.